Today, we're going to talk about self-worth. What is it? Where does it come from? How does it affect our lives? And the one technique I can show you to shatter those false beliefs we have about ourselves. Hi, my name is Michelle Liddi. Welcome to Living a Limitless Life. I help people connect to a positive self-identity for growth and expansion in all areas of our lives. What is it? The definition I found that I really like about self-worth is it's about how we think and feel about ourselves. And I think this definition is so powerful because in every situation that we walk into, we are thinking and feeling a certain way about ourselves. So if we're feeling confident and feeling really good about ourselves, we go into the situation, let's say a party, and we're probably going to meet a lot of people and talk to a lot of people. But if we're feeling insecure, we may kind of hide a little bit or stand behind the scenes and not really reach out to people. Now, people may reach out to us, and we're fine when they reach out to us and we chit chat. But as far as you feeling confident and just going into the room and saying, I really feel like meeting a bunch of people today, if you feel really good and confident and you feel good about yourself, and the way that you think about yourself is, I really can meet a lot of people. That's not a problem for me. You'll go in and meet a lot of people. But it's really how we think and feel about ourselves. It affects everything in our life and affects every situation that we walk into. Now, where does it come from? It comes from our childhood. First, I want to say that we're all born with self-worth. It's really not something we go get. It's not something we try to find. It's not something we try to be. It's something that we are. And we are it because we're born with it. The disconnect comes from is when, through our upbringing, if we aren't treated very kindly or nicely or spoken to not in a very nice manner, we can disconnect and doubt ourselves. So we disconnect from the truth of our self-worth. And then if we are validated, soothed, treated very nicely and respectfully as a kid, it's most likely we're going to have a pretty strong belief in our self-worth, that we're worthy. We're worthy and deserving of any situation that we want to take on, or meeting new people, or having a loving relationship. We feel worthy of that relationship because we were treated with worth as we were growing up. Now, how it happens is that I like to just give a very basic kind of sample or very basic explanation. And the explanation is that this kind of is a little bit about me and something that I experienced growing up. I didn't think I was very good at math, but I didn't think I was very good at math because when I came home and asked my dad for help, it was further enhanced that I wasn't very good at math because when he would try to explain it to me, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand what he was trying to say to me. I wasn't comprehending it. He was getting frustrated. He was getting angry. He started yelling at me because I didn't get it. So I started thinking like, I'm stupid. Like, what's wrong with me? Because as kids, when we're growing up, the only thing that we know and how we are forming our self-identity is how we're treated. And then if we're not treated very well, we're going to think that it's about us. It's about me. There's something wrong with me. I must not be smart enough. I must not be good enough in order to understand or get this math problem. When in actuality, it really was my dad's issue. But we're not old enough to realize, well, this isn't my issue, it's my parents' issue, and they just don't know how to explain it to me. And I developed this belief that I was not smart, that I was dumb, or that I wasn't good enough or as smart as other kids. And I started getting into kind of like comparing, and then self-doubt seeped in. And then my worth, I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I was enough to do this math problem. I didn't feel like I was smart enough. There's a lot of enoughs that start playing into our self-worth. We don't feel enough of this or enough of that, or as good as this person or as good as that person. Now, on the flip side, let's say that I came home from school and I didn't understand a math problem, and I asked my dad, and he said, oh, yeah, let's sit down and look at this. And I didn't understand it, and he tried to figure out different ways for me to get it. And we would talk about it, and he would ask me, like, what part don't you understand, or what part am I not explaining right? And then we worked through the problem, and then he let me know, I know you're smart. You've got this. Let's just sit down and figure out a way for me to explain it to you so you understand. And then we just kind of talk and work through the problem. And then at some point, I get the problem, and he like high fives me or praises me and says, God, I knew you can get it. I know you're a smart person. It just took us a little bit of time to get there. Maybe I wasn't explaining it well. Maybe my dad would take ownership. And this is like the flip side, or the side that didn't happen to me. But if this did happen to me, I would feel more confident in math. I would feel like I was a smart person. I would feel like I could do it. And that would kind of start gaining through these instances a foundation of I'm capable, I'm smart, it just takes time, I have to learn it. On the other side, if I am yelled at or no patience with me to learn the math problem, I'm going to feel it's going to wear on my self-worth, and it's going to wear more on I'm not capable, I'm not confident, I can't do this. And that's kind of where those two sides look like. One is we build a negative self-worth is built because we think it's about us. And then a positive self-worth is we do look at us, but we look at ourselves in a positive way. Like, I got this, because in the beginning, our parent or our main caretaker is setting the stage of how we look at ourselves, how we identify with ourselves. If we're identified in a positive way, we're going to identify with ourselves in a positive way. If we're identified in a negative way, we're going to identify with ourselves in a negative way that constantly chips away at who we are. And then it morphs into, who do I need to be in order to be liked, loved, or accepted, or not, for somebody to not get mad at me or angry at me. And we start taking on like this false identity. Now, our true identity on the flip side is that if we're treated with kindness, respect, love, soothing, understanding, validation, then we're going to build a positive self-worth or self-identity, and we're going to feel confident and feel good about ourselves walking into other situations. We're not going to doubt ourselves because we had the support of our parent. In the beginning, we need that parent to kind of mirror back to us that positivity in order to move forward. Or when the parent doesn't mirror back that positivity, we take on a persona that, as a child, we think is going to get us through a situation to not get yelled at. And we just have a child mind trying to pull these pieces together on who to be. And some of the pieces we pull together are not true about ourselves. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this in other videos. But the one technique I wanted to show you in order to shatter some of these false beliefs we have about ourselves that played into our self-worth and how we think and feel about going into situations. A little background too is that I look on the outside like I was very confident and I knew what was going on. In some respects, I was very confident, but when it came to social situations, I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt a lot of fear. I was really concerned with, is somebody gonna like me? Am I gonna do something that somebody's not gonna like? And then just kind of looking for those visual cues on what is somebody looking for in order to like somebody. And then I wouldn't totally abandon who I was, but I would kind of form conversations around what I thought that they would like. Maybe I wouldn't give my opinion or speak up too much. I would kind of maybe stay in the middle to see like, what is it that gets me liked and accepted with this person or in this group? And a lot of times I would just speak out and be me, and somebody would give me a look. But I would think that look was coming from the look that my dad used to give me when he was disappointed in me. And I would this is how we bring our past into our present. So I'd bring that feeling or that look that I saw in my dad and bring it and associate that that's the intention of that look where that person in the present moment is giving me, which meant they don't like me, or they're upset with me, or they didn't like what I had to say. So I would shrink back and then be very quiet, or maybe withdraw, or maybe not go in a social situation for a little bit, because I would put all of this projection or thought into what this person was thinking or feeling about me, which isn't true. And even if it was, it really shouldn't matter. I should still be who I am. And I would really feel kind of insecure or not good about myself if I was bringing in my past into these future situations over and over, which hurt my relationships because I would think that somebody didn't like me when actually they really did. So the one technique I want to show is that, let's say for me in a party, if somebody gave me a look, I would go home and question that. Later on, I would say, okay, that person gave me a look. Is the look that they gave me mean that they don't like me? No, that doesn't mean the same thing. Does that look that they gave me, maybe they were thinking about something and they gave a certain look that I was associating it or taking it personal about me? And then you start questioning what these beliefs are. And then ask yourself, is it really true that for me to believe that that person didn't like what they were hearing and therefore didn't like me? And so you start questioning these beliefs that we put on people, or we think that they're thinking about us. And any little thing that's negative, we want to question, is it true? What's the validity? What's the story we have behind it being true for us? And the story I have is, if I really think about it, well, my dad used to glare at me and give me that look. That meant that he wasn't angry, or that he was ignoring me, or that he didn't appreciate what I had to say, or basically he just didn't want to deal with me. And so that was the story. Now, is that story true in every circumstance and every person that I meet who gives a glare or a look? And for me to take it personal and attach the story about my dad to the present moment? And I can start saying, no, that is not true. That is not a truth here. And even if it is a truth, it's not the truth that I'm choosing to agree with. It's not the truth that I'm agreeing to hold true for me anymore. And then we have to go one step further and think about a truth that we do want to believe. And then when we start believing in more positive truths, we start changing the way that we look at situations, we start changing the way that we look at people, and we start changing the way that we start interacting with people, meaning that we know that they have good intentions behind them talking to us, or different facial expressions, and everybody gives all kinds of different facial expressions. And I choose to believe that their facial expression had nothing to do with me, and that they're interested in my story. And so we want to start attaching and reframing, rethinking how we're thinking about situations. And I'm going to choose that the glare that somebody gave me was something that they were just thinking about, that it had nothing to do with me, that of course I'm important and worthy enough to be in this conversation, to be in this social situation, and talk to the various people that I'm going to meet at the party, or the people that I met up with to chit chat with. So thank you so much for listening today. I'm going to be talking more about these types of things. Let me know with your comments below on how you felt about this, about what I had to talk about. If you want to hear more, if there's a different subject that you want to talk about, and please hit the bell on the side and subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more about topics. I'm going to be talking about self-identity, and I'm going to be concentrating on our self-worth, our self-value, our self-respect, our self-love, and our self-acceptance. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.